Hi everyone, welcome to my studio. This video is the fourth in a series of 10 that documents my process as I create a commissioned bust and a sculpture that captures my thoughts on COVID. Things get interesting with the COVID-19 sculpture. Having made the initial rendering of the torso, I move on to the head, and you may be surprised at the method I use. I start this next phase with the base. It's important to make sure that the base is completed at this point because all other parts of the sculpture have to conform to the dimensions of the base. I assemble the final version and it is still rough, but it will be completed, the finishing will be completed during that stage. I assemble the base using screws because I need the joints to hold as I continue rendering the sculpture with cement. With cement, we basically use is wet, so the constant moisture on the joints may cause them to become compromised. So I use screws to keep them in place during this process. I explained the design of the base in a future video where I discuss my design process and how I conceptualize the piece. I start the head with a paper core. This reduces weight and allows me to easily adjust the position of the head as I sculpt it. I now move on to the first layer of clay. Yes, I said clay. I am not rendering the head directly in cement. I am actually going to make a clay version of the head. Then I'm going to make a mold and cast it and then reattach it to the torso. If you watched my other video on the commission bust, you would remember that I am obsessed with the underlying structure. I am even more so here because the underlying structure dictates the position and the expression that the head will have for the sculpture. So I need to be extremely careful to make sure that I have the head in the correct position before I add the details. The first layer of clay I build up is actually way beyond the dimensions of the final head that I am rendering. I do this because it's actually easier to remove the clay using the rake than to add it due to the position of the head and the interference that the panels of wood cause. Once I have the initial structure brought down to size, I then focus on the planes. Where the forehead, I define the chin and the area where the nose would be, and the neck. Especially how the neck will integrate into the body. Notice the head is twisted, so there are particular muscles that have to be defined and aligned with the muscles on the torso. I can render this head much more quickly than the commission bust because I am not trying to sculpt an actual person. While I am using dimensions from a real model, the features, the expression basically will be guided by my own aesthetic choice as I sculpt the piece. Now that I am happy with the position of the head, I fill it out in terms of volume, and I then focus on finishing the major details on planes such as the cheeks, the chin, neck, etc., which would then only leave me to render the eyes. But I like to leave those for last, as you would have seen with the commission bust, or will see with the commission bust. So I move on to the hair. Admittedly, this is the first time I've ever attempted this particular texture with hair, so I have no idea how the final texture will render when I make a mold and cast it. However, I'm going for the particular style that I see a lot of ladies wearing now, which I think is called twist outs, where the hair is basically left natural after it was plaited and unplaited. So I started with a lot of little pieces which I applied individually, and then it would add a texture when I'm finishing the head. I start with the eyes because at this point I'm now confident that I can go forward, especially with the initial rendering of the hair in position, which would allow me to really set the sculpture's expression. At this point, I'm simply just making a lot of small adjustments and refinements to the head because it's pretty much set, but to ensure that I get the full effect of the pose and the expression, I'm making minute changes to the various features such as the lips, the cheeks, etc., to make sure that I am getting the particular look that I want. I continue to work on the hair. Like I said, I have no idea how this will turn out in the casting process because there are some deep set cavities within the hair texture. This may cause a problem or it may turn out really well. There's no way to tell except to get the mold done and to cast it. I then move on to my finishing touch, which is to use the burlap cloth to create a skin-like texture. Why use a different technique for the head? Rendering the body directly in cement while casting the head is a technique I developed from necessity. It is just too costly to create a full body mold unless it's commissioned. Upcoming videos will show how I create the mold, cast the head, and attach it to the body, producing the same result as a full body mold.